Hello, Fantasia. You have just witnessed the world premiere of What JOSIAH Saw. What'd you think, guys? Let's get some thumbs up there. I'm Tony Timpone. I'm the co-director of international programming at Fantasia. It was my great pleasure to select this film for the festival's 25th anniversary. And we have a killer panel assembled for our What JOSIAH Saw Q&A. I'd love to introduce this powerhouse group, beginning with the producers of the film are with us. Bernie Stern.
Hi,
Angela Adzic. It is Bernie. Welcome, Bernie. Angelia Adzic. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yes, you did.
Great.
As I said, now I'm not on mute anymore.
Terrific. We also have the Carlos Ritter. Let's give it up for Carlos. The director of the film is with us, Grashaw. Let's hear it for Vincent.
Up, guys.
And we have the cast, the very good cast is with us. First off, we have Gypsy Gina Namerode. Let's hear it for Dana. Did I get that one right, Dana?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm 2 for 2. Okay. Excellent. Next up, she plays Mary in the film you saw in the underrated horror film from a few years back called Horns. Let's give it up for Kelli Garner. Kelli is with us.
Hi, guys.
And hey, let's hear it for Kelli. Yes. He played Thomas in the film. He was in the Oscar winner Minari last year. Scott Haze is in the house. Let's hear it for Scott. Hey, Scott. All right. And finally, he played JOSIAH himself. He needs no introduction. The legendary Robert Patrick is with us. Let's hear it for Robert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robert. Yes. And we hope that Nick Stahl will be joining us. He's on location in, I think, Bulgaria right now, where it's 5 a.m. So it might be a bit of a challenge to get him on to join in on this this webinar, but we're hopeful. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about, and let's start with the producers, Bernie and Angela. This script first come to you. It was written by Robert Allen Dilts. It's so unique. How did this fall into your laps and you agreed to produce this film?
Angelia.
Oh, actually, Bernie was the first one to read it, I guess. I came later, so Bernie, you'll go ahead.
Well, I had done a movie in Oklahoma in the summer of 2019, and I got contacted just by a producer that was like, "Hey, they're looking for somebody that knows the Oklahoma rebate system, and there's this awesome horror film that they're doing in Oklahoma, and they're looking for somebody that kind of knows how to do it and can handle it." And so I actually met with Vince and kind of the production team just over the phone while I was working on set there. And I read the script, and it's crazy and awesome and doable, hard as it was. And then, they brought me on to kind of work up the budget and just get it ready to go. So, just kind of started there, just hit the ground running. I think I took maybe 3 weeks off in between doing one before I jumped right into this, and then just kind of hit the ground running.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I kind of came later. We got introduced with Vince, and Vince showed me the script, and I was thinking that it's an amazing script, and immediately we kind of went into, okay, we want to do this. And basically, I think we first started talking in July, and we were shooting in November. So it was a very fast thing.
Yeah, very fast process.
JOSIAH Vincent, how did JOSIAH fall into your lap?
I've known the writer for many years, and he had several scripts that I kind of loved all of them. But he was sending me pages of this one, like he'd send me 5-10 pages at a time, and it was fascinating because I hadn't read anything like it before. And I liked the structure, and I liked how it was spooky without really dabbling much in the supernatural. And it felt I mean, not relatable so much to me at all, but I just feel like the topics it was dealing with, I'm interested in, like that side of humanity, I guess. And so I had read it in 2013 and spent many years trying to get it going, ups and downs, as you know how it goes. Many no's.
So to
almost
7 years, 6 or 7 years to get the film financed.
Yeah, and so we were introduced to Angelia and Ron, our partners, our producers, and they were looking to. This is their first film as Random X Productions, so they were looking to go right away. And so it's kind of one of those things that just happens like that. And if you're not ready, you kind of lose the opportunity. And so we were ready.
How did you introduce this film when you went into the offices of these investors and producers? What kind of hit did you give them? Because it is so dark.
I do all my work in pre, so I had lookbooks, I had references of cinematography, references of locations. I'm not getting into so much of the, like, you know, the whether they're the controversial aspects of the movie with the investors as much as just, you know, pitching it.
One thing you can say about Vince is he is extremely well prepared when he comes onto a project. I mean, it was so great to hear just how much passion and knowledge he had about the project just over the phone when we were, you know, coming on the job. And then once we got on the ground in Oklahoma, just a month of just the most aggressive prep, both with, you know, all the shots and the planning. He had a clear vision just from the beginning. So, I mean, he knew how to pitch it the whole way.
When we brought Carlos out from Argentina, I was lucky enough to get linked up with him. His agent had sent us his stuff, and he would happen to be shooting a commercial. And so Carlos came on and was like, "This is crazy, this script. Hire me, let's go." And so I was so blown away from Carlos's work that it was kind of a no-brainer when we met.
The setting, was it always meant to take place in Oklahoma? I mean, you guys found the perfect location, but this Gothic Midwest setting is just so perfect for that state.
Yeah, I think it made sense for many reasons, budget reasons and film incentive reasons. Oklahoma it's a thriving incentive right now. It's killing it. We would have shot in probably the best incentive state that fit the look, which, you know, around that area there's several, but we just, Oklahoma was the best right now. So
what's great about Oklahoma is just kind of the diversity of, like, locations. I mean, from the kind of mountains of, you know, Lawton all the way through the kind of plains, and then, you know, these like small old towns that have been there 150 years. You really can get a lot of diversity there.
Interesting. Let me speak with our actors now. How was this movie pitched to you guys? How was this sold to you? What attracted you to what JOSIAH saw? I'll start with you, Dana, and then we'll work our way up.
I got the script in, I think it was July of a couple of years ago, and I was a student studying for finals, and it was just another script on the list. And I said to myself, you know, just read a couple of pages, go back to studying. I had a test the next day, and I started it and I could not put it down. And I went through the entire script in one sitting, and I was so enthralled with it. And I just knew that moment that this is a project that I really wanted to be a part of.
And Kelly?
I had it was, I guess, pitched to me by Vincent, because I had read it, and it stands alone as it's really a wonderful script. And the characters within the piece were so cool, and they almost like had their own chapters, which I think for every actor that was probably really enticing. But just kind of talking to Vince and getting to have like a face-to-face and realizing that he, you know, was more than capable and wanted to really kind of explore the underbelly, like where true trauma and horror really lies, and just that we were going to keep it grounded and keep it, like, you know, creative, like the promise that, like, this, you can just go in and try to give the best performance possible, because that's what helps make the best movie possible. And it's hard to say no to that.
How about you, Scott? What is your take on that? How was the character Thomas pitched to you, and what did you want to bring to this Don character?
Yeah, I mean, I've been attached for an extremely long time. I think that's why I have an executive producer credit on the film. Vincent and I Skyped. My agent said there's this really talented director, and there's a script that we think you'd like. And we Zoomed, and I was doing a movie called Only the Brave, and it was 5 years ago. I thought about it earlier today. 5 years ago, Vincent and I did I think it was
actually longer. It's 2015. I think.
I've been on it forever, and I was worked on the script with Vincent. We workshopped it in my theater. I really believed in him as a director, and he's such a good guy as a human too. And he's one of my brothers now, a dear friend. And I was in from the jump. I've always loved this project. I've been on it for a long time, so it's really cool to be here today with the film.
And honestly, the thing about Scott that was, I mean, just from a director standpoint, I think that was one of the hardest roles it's the very one that's walking the tightrope where you can totally butcher it. And so knowing Scott's work, seeing his films is what really got me excited, because he is that. He goes all in, and he really, really cares. And so the fact that I got him very early and knew what he was capable of, especially with this role, I knew I was in good hands with that role specifically.
And what say you, Robert Patrick?
I heard about it from an actor buddy of mine, Ronnie Jean Blevins, recommended me to Scott, I think. And Scotty and Vincent had thought about some guys to play this part, and they happened to be actors that I really admired. So I was curious about that. They had Michael Parks at one time, and I was very, very curious. Anything that Ronnie sends me, I'll look at for real. And I got very excited about Scott Haze and him in this role. I read the script. I was doing a film in Jersey at the time, which comes out August 27th, by the way. And I wasn't really looking for anything to do. And the script really was amazing. Robert Allen Dilts, right?
Yeah.
It was beautiful language, and it was very demanding. And the funny thing is I could have seen Michael Parks play this part, so that got me excited. Then I spoke with Vincent about it, and we spoke about Scott and his passion for it. I still wasn't sold. I asked Vincent, "What's your best movie you ever made?" And he said, and then I go. And I said, "All right, I'm gonna watch it right now. Send it to me and I'll watch it." And by God, it's a good movie. And so now I was stuck, because I like Vincent, like Scotty said, and I love Scotty's work. And I called Vincent and I said, "All right, you son of a bitch. I guess I'm doing this." And I called my agents, and they were like, "Okay, Oklahoma, do what you want," that kind of thing. But it really went like that. So, and I'm thrilled it did. They really came through.
You're often a lot of villain roles. What was it about Josiah that broke the mold that made you want to make the plunge into playing this really dark character?
It was the relationship with Scott and Nick's character and Kelly's character, and just the figment of the character I saw that they were trying to create with JOSIAH. It was mythic and, really Americana. And then when you layer that with Oklahoma and the mysteries of the plains and all that, it really kind of spoke to me on that level. And yeah.
Nice. This question is for Carlos. Carlos, how did you go about shooting the 4 distinct sections of the film? Did you try to have an overall look to the film? Did you want each part to be different in a certain way? What was your mantra when you came on board to shoot this movie? Talk about the process.
Well, when I came into the movie, when I met Vince, he had a very clear vision about visuals, and it happened to match my visions as well. We were very in the same page from day one, and indeed we did wanted to make all those chapters, the 3 different chapters in the beginning to be sort of different, because I think it's a strong point in the movie, in my opinion, is this sort of, it's like 3 movies in one, in terms of tones, in terms of cinematic language as well. They tend to be like totally different, and then they meet up in this sort of redemption in the end. So yes, we did try to make it look different, with its own look for everyone. And Oklahoma, in that matter, we got there in the perfect season, because the aesthetics of the whole place was amazing, in the color palettes were very strong, and the process was hard, because it is obviously it's a small budget movie, but the whole crew was great from day one. They put their hearts on, as we did from day one as well, and the whole cast also helped a lot to bring this to the end point. And I think we got a great movie, and I think it's full of little tweaks and little things and little smart pieces put together, and we thought a lot about them.
Yeah, I mean, what was terrifying about this is we moved so fast once we were greenlit. Like, we didn't have a farmhouse like 2 weeks before shooting. We didn't know. We were like running around figuring stuff out. Location scout was like below 0. I don't remember how cold and windy it was. It was awful.
It was cold, yeah.
Yeah,
It
40
was
mile an hour
so
winds and 10-degree weather.
Like, it was a bitch, this pre-production. I'm not gonna lie. And it's crazy. Like, if you had gone to that farmhouse a month or 2 before, it was all green. It would have been all green. And
awful.
Like, the time we shot, it was all dead and dying, and it just, the house and everything was kind of miraculously worked out, Which,
how did you shoot the film? Did you shoot it in order that as we see in the film, or did you make the sections of the film?
We shot the farmhouse
as you were shooting.
Yeah, we shot the farmhouse out first with Scott and Robert, and then brought Kelly and Nick into that for them when they reunite, and then wrapped Scott and Robert, and then went on to Kelly and Nick for the rest of the movie.
Gotcha. So what was the production schedule overall? How many days did it take, or weeks, months did it take to shoot what JOSIAH saw?
It was 4 weeks that we kind of did. It was 22 total days that we did it in. I mean, we had a month to prep, and yeah, I think initially we were like, oh, maybe we could do it in 18, and then that squeezed, oh, we need 20, and then we're like, oh, we need 2 more days, or it's just going to be even worse. But it was funny because the farmhouse was good to get the big chunk of it out in the beginning. We have our ending and get through that. But then we had all of these like night exteriors, and it just kept getting colder and colder and colder. So by the final week, when we're doing all of the gypsy story, kind of timeline outside, it was, I mean, people were literally standing around those barrels of fire just trying to stay warm because it was real cold there at the end.
Spent a good portion on the set covered in blanket.
Yeah, right. A lot of blankets.
So the majority of the film is location work. Did you have any sets on the film, or like the interiors of the farmhouse, or is it all actual locations?
It's all real.
Wow.
It's all real. Yeah, we found that farmhouse, and it was we went to see it. Like, I think it was almost perfect. I think we did work in the art direction a lot inside, but the structures did almost fulfilled our situation with the script. I think it like 80%, I would say. You know, we just had to adjust little bits and parts, but it was a miracle.
The gypsy trailer was initially supposed to be a motel, like a side motel. And so we were never going to find everything to line up for the carnival to be this like roadside motel. So we decided to get one of those, was that a single wide, Bernie, or double wide? And
it was like a construction trailer that, you know, they drop off on sites. Yeah. And then just built it out. Yeah. I mean, Stephanie Reese, our production designer, was spectacular. I mean, you know, the house was, you know, 150 years old. It was, you know, it looked the part. She really brought that house together. And then, yeah, the interior of the gypsy trailer, you know, she just made it sing.
For my actors, did you, working on these actual locations, did that add to the ambiance? Did it help your job at all? Being in that kind of element, for particularly the farmhouse, which is spooky as hell. Maybe we'll start with the ladies.
Yeah, being in the farmhouse was really cool. It was out in the middle of nowhere, and it wasn't a huge crew, and everyone, all the actors, man, they really got in character and lost themselves. And it's dark and cold and, you know, smoky, and the atmosphere. And oh yeah, man. I mean, that always takes it up a notch when you can just kind of melt into your environment. Loved it.
Mm-hmm. And Dana, what about your gypsy camp? How did that help you get into your role?
Yeah, that was, as mentioned before, the set was incredibly well done. Every little detail of it was thought out, so it was so easy to get immersed in the moment and really see it as a completely new world. And it was a lot of fun shooting in it. I remember there's a short moment that you see in the beginning of dancing, and I remember when we were shooting it, the whole trailer was just rocking and everyone was laughing, and the whole atmosphere of it was so real. So it really contributed, I think, to those scenes.
Great. Well, let me change the question a little for Robert and Scott. You guys probably have the most screen time together in the film. Talk about the relationship and the work you guys did to realistically play father and son in this movie, and with such a troubled relationship. Talk about the process.
Scotty, you want to go first?
Yeah, for me, look, I didn't know Robert before this film, but out of all the men that I've met in my life, just the mentioning of his name at this point he just means so much to me. I was such a fan of him my whole life, and working with him was literally a dream come true for me. There's a lot of things that we talked about on a personal level where I was able to look up to him and respect him and want his like a father's love, if you will. Even though I don't, in life, I look at him like a friend, but in the movie, it was easy to find a lot of just familiarity with him. And so for me, it was getting to know him pretty instantly, because you don't know what, you know, when you meet an actor, what their demeanor is going to be or what they're going to be like to work with. And this is such an intimate type I mean, this is some of the most intimate scenes I've ever done, or probably will ever do, one in particularly. And it wasn't hard to me to make a quick connection with Robert.
Mhm.
He was so immersed in the role by the time I got to the set. We had met and had lunch a couple days prior, didn't we, Vincent?
Yeah.
And we had a lunch, and we had a great lunch. We hit it off. But I think, when I actually got there day one, I think Scotty had already shot like a day maybe. And he was so into character that the stakes on the film just, were jacked up. It was like, you can't let this kid down. You gotta get in there with him, and you really got to go for it because he's going for it. And there's a lot of grit to his performance, and it's very cerebral as well, and emotional. And he's got ticks and things that are happening to him while you're working with him, because you remember, I'm not there, and we kept building on that. I think Vincent really blocked out our scenes, I think, in a way that we could kind of grow that part of the relationship where you built the fact that this was a father and son that were committed to correcting this great disaster that had befallen this family. And even if he was in his head only, you weren't supposed to know that. You would buy the relationship, And I was so impressed with what Scotty was doing and his commitment. It was just like this again. It was just, there's just no way I can let him down. And I think Kelli can answer this for me. I think Nick said this the last time we spoke. By the time they got to the set, the way it was blocked out, they showed up. And when they showed up, I mean, good God Almighty, Scotty and I were so far down the fucking road that they just like looked at us and said, Jesus Christ, what have you guys been doing? It was pretty impressive the way that all came together.
Kelli, could you talk about any prep work that you did with Nick for your scenes and your character backgrounds?
Well, I mean, thankfully, Nick and I have a pretty long history. We were in a movie together, like one of my first films about 20 years ago. So it was kind of like, which I guess you could say had some built-in trauma to being on this set, which is a Larry Clark set, this called Bully. And we had very similar experiences. So I think we just kind of had a built-in, quality of just knowing each other. But no, I mean, I can attest, Robert and Scott had absolutely lost their minds by the time we had showed up. But it's great because it just like continues to raise the bar. Like I said, it's so fun to be on these smaller crew movies because nobody's not there because they're not passionate. Like everyone is there for a reason, and so the bar just gets raised, and it's just incredible performances. And you go, I gotta step up, and I don't know, you just click in, and when you're shooting on location, and with these actors in this like house that is about to fall down, it kind of becomes easy. And Carlos is so excited, and Vince is just, in there with you and also sitting back and letting you do your thing. And Bernie's, doing all the fun stuff behind the scenes, keeping everyone right where they need to be. It's great. It was so great. So no, we slipped right in. It was kind of mandatory that you lose your minds too.
Most fun I had was chasing Kelli around in the upstairs, bedroom to bedroom. It was some pretty bizarre stuff going on. Do you remember that, Kelli?
Yeah. How could I forget
slightly.
it?
Yeah.
And for Tony, since Tony, you probably wouldn't know what we're talking about. We had a scene that we cut out of the movie. There's a stinger at the end of the movie that has a shot of Robert like literally chasing the camera, and it was like really terrifying. But there was the scene we cut out of the movie, and shoot it. That just goes to show what the energy was while shooting. Everyone was having so much fun. This isn't, the movie's very heavy, and we took it very serious, but when you're making movies, you're having the time of your life. And for me, that's what this is about, is everyone doing that, collaborating, but also you see it, you watch playback together and you're just like howling with either laughter or excitement from the stuff you're getting. I mean, I had Carlos jumping on my back when we'd rap for the day, like, jumping on my back like piggyback ride, just because it was such good energy.
Scott,
oh, go ahead, Kelli.
Scott and I had a scene that was also cut out because they tormented Mary. They tormented Kelli a little bit while shooting this.
Kelli adored.
And then they watched back their footage and were like, we cannot show this. You think you saw excuse me, you saw like shitty stuff. We cut out some of it, but there was a whole like 4 hours where I was wrestling with Scott Haze on like the stairs, and he was having to grab me, and he's like, how do you want to do this? And he's like already mad, and I'm like, I think you should just really try to get me off the stairs, and I'm really gonna fight for my life. And for me, it's exhausting. I had so many bruises and I could not walk the next day, but it was fun because that's how you feel that's how I felt, at least when I was like a child on a playground. It was just the adult version of like, yes, permission to try and drag her down the stairs. It's good. I don't know. When do you get to do that in real life?
Does anyone else have anecdotes on working on the film or working in the OK state of Oklahoma?
Oh, it was cold. It was really, really cold and really, really rainy. We had one day when everything around the farm was stuck, and Robert had an adventure of trying to drive the car into the yard.
Yeah, we had a lot of vehicle issues on this movie.
Well, it just seemed like every time we would say, okay, things are kind of going okay today, the power would go out, or like it was kind of an act of God shoot where every day was kind of a struggle. I mean, it speaks to the fortitude of these actors and actresses that they were able to get through it, because I mean, we were in a remote location. It was freezing, sometimes it was raining, sometimes it was windy, and not having the support that obviously we would have loved to have been able to give at certain times. But it just, I mean, a piece of gear would show up to set and then immediately get stuck in the mud, and like it was just kind of this chaos, but it did create an atmosphere.
I have to say, Bernie, that was my favorite day.
Yeah,
for me, for example, was like a miracle, because for me, prior to start shooting, I was planning and scheduling with Vincent, trying to avoid any sunlight hitting our sets until the very end, when those brothers come back to the farm, because we thought about it, and we thought that it shouldn't look happy at any time, the movie. So having sunlight was a struggle for me all the time. So I love their location because of that, because it was very helpful in terms of us. We're changing schedules, trying to flip around during the day, just avoiding the sunlight, just to getting shady and sad and where all this ochre color palettes in the farm, and then when we got them brothers to come back to the house, then we wanted that sunset. We wanted that happy moment to become real, at least for a couple of minutes. And then when the sun is fading, maybe not many people realize, but it was quite a struggle when the sun is fading out and they are getting into the house and they're starting to discover creepy things that are happening to the house and things that were not there, and blah, blah, blah. And the sun is falling into the night. And when the night sets in, then the dinner sets in, and then everything explodes. And it was super hard to do. It was super hard to do, to schedule that and to film that into place.
Yeah, it was hard timing that all out. But something to Carlos's work on the movie, we had a lot of language about what the camera would do. Like you would never see ever really on Scott's coverage, you would never really see Robert in the foreground, and then but on Robert you sort of would. And so we played a lot with like Robert not really touching things at all other than his alcohol bottle and glass. He never really moves things or touches anything, and he's always sort of wearing the same clothes. But also to Robert, the screenwriter, his the way he crafted this that was most fascinating to me is Josiah and Thomas both can have two different complete narratives, and both of them hold water the whole movie. Whether you think it's one way or the other, it holds water both ways, no matter what you take from the movie. And I was really fascinated how that was accomplished in the writing. And so we just did our best to really communicate that through camera and everything else.
Yeah, it's a beautiful script. It's very disturbing, and it was a lot of fun to create this language. That I think it's a movie where, whether you like it or not, I think it's a movie that once you watch it again, you like it more, and once you watch it again, you like it even more, because it's so, those little Easter eggs and all those stuff that you can come back to, and it's like, oh, it was really there, and then you get mixed up and
there's a lot of hints to like the real, like he said, the nuggets in the movie. There's a lot of layers in there, little things that you would notice the second time. Just even a comment or a line, or from actors, you can really put things together, and visuals. Mary's photography. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Here at Fantasia, I've been getting a lot of inquiry from potential distributors who are interested in your film, and I've been referring them to CAA. Is there anything you could tell us about the future plans for what Josiah saw?
Yeah, I mean, we've kept it very close, other than showing the festivals and press. Literally no buyers have seen it until tonight and this weekend, so we'll see what happens. I mean, ideally, you sell it and get a good sort of deal and exposure to put it out there for people. But yeah, we've kind of kept it till tonight, basically, and so they'll be viewing it. We'll see how it goes.
The idea was that the whole movie is a mystery.
Well, I'm going to wrap things up, but before we go, I'd like to ask everyone to give us what's to come in terms of work you have coming, future projects lined up. Maybe we'll start with the producers, Bernie and Angela.
Yeah, hopefully getting other features off the ground. There are some horror scripts. There's a couple of family films. There are some thrillers, but stuff in the works that hopefully we'll shoot next year.
Great.
Well, we in Random Mix Production, we're currently working on 2 projects. And we kind of formed all of this partnership during what Josiah saw, and working with a team from the movie. And we are hoping that we are going to be shooting a new one by the end of the year, and the next one in spring.
Oh, nice. And Carlos, do you have something you'll be shooting soon, or something that you shot that's waiting to come out?
No, we have another project there sitting with Vincent, but he'll talk about it. And I have another project just came in the south of the Patagonia in Argentina. It's also like a thrilling movie. It's super appealing as well. So we see at the end of the year, next year, probably working on something super nice.
Vincent, do you have some more horror films in your future?
No, I don't have a horror movie next, but I love horror. I would always be open to that. If something strong came my way, absolutely. I'm always, a big fan of horror my whole life, pretty much. But no, we're working on with Random Mix 2 different projects. So one of them's a true story that basically I had written hired to write it and just fell in love with it and brought it to them. And we decided it's something we want to pull the trigger on. And then the one we're doing next year is it's not horror, but it's based on real life events, but it's a sort of fictional, has some fictional characters in the Jonestown situation back in the 70s. And so it dabbles with that. And yeah, those are the two things we're right away on the horizon. So
sounds good. Good. And our actors, Dana, what's on your horizon?
So I'll be joining these two productions mentioned by Angelia and Vincent. They're both incredibly exciting projects. I'm really looking forward to them.
Great. And Kelli?
oh, did we lose Kelli? I think we lost her.
Ah, okay. Then maybe Scott?
Yeah, I have, there's a movie coming out that I did with a close friend of mine, Tim Blake Nelson. It's premiering in Venice in a few weeks at the Venice Film Festival called Old Henry. And then a few weeks later, I think a lot of the people who love this festival, I have a movie that's been delayed twice. It's called Antlers. It's a movie that I did with Guillermo del Toro, Scott Cooper.
Yeah.
So that movie,
We tried to.
What's that?
Yeah, I tried to book that at Fantasia. They had higher expectations for it.
Oh well, yeah. I think people will love that one. And then I just finished shooting Jurassic World, and that'll come out next year too.
Scott's career is exploding.
Wow. Oh yeah, exciting! Congratulations. And Robert, you've been in everything in the last year. X-Files. We played a movie of yours called Tone Deaf here at Fantasia 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
that was
You're
a
all
fun
over
movie. That was a fun movie.
Yeah. Very
I got-
fun. Yes.
I got some stuff coming out. I'm really excited about what Scott's got coming out. He's got a lot of great things happening. And I just worked with James Gunn. I'm excited about that. Peacemaker, HBO thing. Yeah, James is a very, very talented filmmaker. No Man of God with Elijah Wood comes out. I think it was
great. Yeah, you were terrific in that as the FBI chief.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you. And then a thing I did, Rushed, I was filming when Vincent called me, comes out August 27th. And Protege comes out like this weekend. I don't know.
Holy cow.
With,
you never stop.
Sam Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nice.
but I'm excited about Scott Haze.
Robert.
This guy. This
Oh
guy.
my God.
Where's Kelli?
All you guys are killing. Congratulations on your big world premiere here at Fantasia tonight. Wish everyone great success with the film. Look forward to having some of your future productions here and at Fantasia. And thank you for your time and making this a very special night.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck, everyone.
Guys, lovely seeing everybody.